Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky, Sports Channel presents the 1991 Southeastern Conference Gymnastics Championships. Good evening, I'm David Sturt, and welcome to what figures to be a mini-nationals tonight. The SEC has 4 of the top 10 ranked teams in the country: Georgia number 3, Alabama number 4, Florida number 5. And going into this meet, you have to believe that Georgia is the team to beat, but they have a few injury problems tonight.
Well, Dave, actually, they've lost a very key individual all-arounder, and that's Heather Stepp. She broke her arm in a meet against Utah. That's a major, major factor in this evening's competition. They've also had some minor injuries, which has hurt their depth a great deal, but they're still a tough team. They have a lot of difficulty, and they should be contending for the all-around win. With
Georgia down a little bit with the injuries, that leaves the door open for Alabama. Alabama, of course, the defending champion, and the team very consistent all year long.
Well, Alabama's definitely psyched for this one. They don't need to score for the national rankings at all. They're already there. They should have fun, and I'm sure they just want to go out there and defend their SEC title.
Of course, in Florida, this is the team that has won more SEC championships than any other school, but last year, very disappointing 5th-place finish, their worst ever. They have bounced back very nicely this year, though.
Well, they've made quite a turnaround, this Florida team. They're on a roll right now. They've been building for every meet out, and I think that if they can hit solid routines, they should challenge for the title.
Now, the other 3 teams are led by LSU, who is ranked 9th nationally, and of course, they are led by a great individual gymnast.
Well, LSU always seems to rise to the occasion. They're led by the senior Rochelle Fruget. She's known very well nationally on the national scene, so I think that she'll be a contender for the individual crown, as well as helping her team a great deal. Auburn, they're on the rise as well, and Auburn has a lot of depth and talent on their team. They're a quiet team, and they could very well find themselves in the top 3 if they hit this competition. And finally, Kentucky, they have 7 freshmen, so they're a young team, and they're just here for the experience and really building towards the future.
So we'll be back with the first rotation for the SEC Championships after these messages on Sports Channel.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
I like working with people.
I really like working with people.
I really like people.
I'm a people person.
I'm eager.
I'm eager.
Eager. I think I'm eager.
And I was president of...
Offer an employer something meaningful, practical work experience. A nationwide college program called Co-op Education can give you that competitive edge.
And I'd even relocate.
Right, Co-op Education. It's the experience you need for the job you want.
What we've learned from research on the human heart has changed the way people live and how long they live. Death rates from heart attack have declined by a remarkable 30.9% since 1977, but it remains America's #1 killer. So contact the American Heart Association, because what you don't know can kill you.
Susan has been kidnapped by her own father.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Daddy.
What'd you do today?
You know.
Huh?
Same thing I do every day.
This is like being in jail.
Over 90% of abducted children are taken by loving parents, convinced they're doing the right thing. If you're on the run and you're looking for a way out, call 1-800-A-WAY-OUT, a special hotline for people just like you. We're not the police or the government. You don't even have to tell us your name. We're just people who care and want to help.
Who are you talking to, Daddy?
Friend?
A good friend?
Just might be.
Calling this number doesn't obligate you in any way, but it could make all the difference in the world. Call 1-800-A-WAY-OUT.
Welcome back to the Memorial Coliseum on the University of Kentucky campus in Lexington, Kentucky. Dave Sturt along with Opie Schlegel. And we're getting ready for the final warm-ups for the SEC Gymnastics Championships. And there you have a look at Sarah Patterson, who has developed one of the great gymnastics programs in the country. Alabama, of course, contender for the national title almost every year. And this year they feature one of the great gymnasts in the country, Dee Dee Foster. And we had a chance to talk to Sarah about Dee Dee Foster and what she's meant to her team.
Well, I think at any point in time, you know that Dee Dee can go out and go at 9.899 on a given event. She's consistent, and I think she just adds a great deal of stability there, much like Marie Robbins did for our program 4 years earlier.
Now, everybody talks Dee Foster when they talk Alabama, but I think all except one meet this year, you've scored over 192 in every meet. There's great consistency, so there's some other gymnasts who are getting the job done. How would you rate this team as far as overall depth and consistency with others that you've had?
Well, this is by far the best team we've ever had. It's one of the youngest. Our performance level is higher than it has been in the past in terms of difficulty. But I think that the hardest thing about it is that, you know, we have a young team, so we have to kind of gauge our skill level with our experience, and that's been the thing that we've worked really hard at.
How about this meet tonight? You're on a neutral floor, yet you come in here obviously as one of the favorites. You've been up in the national rankings all year. How important is the SEC title in the realm of things for your program?
Well, in terms of our institutions, it's everything. You know, years ago, people would never ask where you finished at the NCAA championship. They wanted to know where you finished in the conference. It doesn't propel us to the NCAA championship or the regionals like in basketball and some of the other sports. But I think the bragging rights in the SEC are very big, and every coach and their team, they're going for that ring on this night.
Now, beyond this, of course, you have that great opportunity this year. You get to host the national championships, and I know you've been looking forward to this with great anticipation. You've got the kind of team, of course, that can go out and win it. Is there added pressure, or does it help having it at home? How do you feel about that?
Well, last year's the year we really wanted to host the NCAAs when we had 4 seniors, and unfortunately, we didn't get the meet for that year, and we're asked to bid again, so we did, and I can think of no better benefit than to take 5 freshmen with only 2 seniors on our team and put them into a national championship at home. I think if ever you need a benefit, it's when you have a young team, and I think that's what we'll use it for this year.
Sarah Patterson, when she says that this is one of her best teams or her best team, that's saying quite a bit, because Alabama has had 6 straight top 4 finishes nationally. And here's a look at the first rotation tonight. Keep in mind 6 teams, so 2 teams will not compete in each rotation. Georgia and Florida will sit out the first rotation. You'll have Auburn on the vault. Alabama will try to begin defense of its title with the bars. Then it'll be Kentucky on the beam and LSU on the floor. And Elfie, in terms of starting out a meet, is there a place where it's best to start out, or what does this mean, Alabama starting on the bars as opposed to starting somewhere else?
Well, I think, Dave, for Alabama, they're in an ideal situation because bars is actually one of their top events. And I think you'll see some pretty big scores right at the beginning of the competition. All in all, every team, I think, is fairly prepared to start on any apparatus, because at national championships, you just don't know where you're going to start. And the teams are prepared to start even on the balancing, which is being considered one of the most difficult events to start on.
And then, of course, over on the floor, there we see Rochelle Fruget for LSU. That's where LSU will begin tonight. And we want to keep a close eye on Rochelle Fruget, because she's one of 3 gymnasts in the conference this year who have scored 10s on the floor exercise. And Rochelle, along with Hope Spivey and Pam Titus from Florida, Hope Spivey from Georgia, all 3 of them figured to be right there in the battle for the floor title this evening. Again, the SEC featuring 4 teams ranked in the top 10 nationally, so there are teams here who maybe Alabama doesn't need a road score, but there are teams like Georgia, Florida, LSU, and Auburn who a road score is very, very important to tonight, and so they will be out here not only trying to earn a high place in the conference, but also get a good road score. And we'll open tonight's competition on the bars with Alabama senior Kim Masters. She's out of Blue Springs, Missouri. Kim has a season and career best of 9.80 on the bars. And again, you mentioned how strong their bars team is, Elfie. Alabama ranks 3rd nationally with their bars average, and this has traditionally been a great, great event for Alabama. And of course, Kim Masters, when you're starting out with somebody who has a 9.80 career best, you get off to a very good start.
And isn't that nice to see someone that can start off your team with a 9.80, and, you know, Kim is just really a great bars worker, and you'll see exactly why. She has a nice extension in all her handstand work. Most of the girls will be performing release elements. And of course, the makeup of the bar team has to do at least 10 elements and work from both the high bar to the low bar. A little bit of an overarch there on that handstand on the low bar. It should only be a couple of times reduction at most. Kim's moving very well. Nice giant swings to a double tuck dismount. A nice opening for Alabama.
Very clean routine. routine for Alabama, and Kim Masters, of course, trying to set that base score. Each team will have 6 competitors, and they count their 5 best scores. So you want to get off to a good start, and there's her teammates congratulating her. And Kim Masters probably very happy to get that first event under the belt tonight, because there's always a lot of pressure starting off in any meet, but especially in the Southeastern Conference Championship. We mentioned this is the 11th championship. Florida has won the championship 5 times, but Alabama is the defending champion this year. And as we wait for our next competitor, keep in mind, again, we have 4 different events going at all times, so you'll hear cheering or you'll hear music from the floor exercise. There'll be a lot going on at the same time, and we'll try to keep you focused on as many of the top gymnasts as possible. Next up for Alabama will be Carrie Dooley, who's a freshman out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And we talk about all the great talent on Alabama, but Carrie's a walk-on. She's been a bars and beam specialist for Alabama this year and has a season high of 9.65.
And the bar specialist she is. I've watched her in the warm-up. She has a lot of difficulty, and she'll open up with some of this difficulty right here. Now that's a big miss right there, Dave. She was supposed to complete a full turn on the high bar. Of course, the athletes have about 20 to 30 seconds to remount, and she'll start exactly where she left off.
And while she does remount, let me tell you, the score for Kim Masters was a 9.70.
Carrie's going to get set for one of her release moves. Again, some of the top bars workers in the country will be doing release skills such as this. That particular move is called the Delchev. She'll try to finish off strong, working back up on the high bar. Nice handstand work, good leg extension. You can see straight legs, moving into a dismount, a pike home in each, very low on the landing. So a couple of problems there. They're hoping that they can throw out this score. Right at the top of the handstand here, Dave, she was supposed to continue on and do another half turn into that release skill that we watched earlier. Again, a 5/10 reduction, and that's a major miss.
So Kim Masters opened with a 9.7. Carrie Dooley had some problems with her routine. And the third competitor for Alabama on the bars tonight will be Dana Dobransky, who is a very interesting story. She's a sophomore out of Sterling Heights, Michigan. And Dana, of course, had a stress fracture last year in her foot, missed part of the 90 season. But as we saw earlier this year with Dana, she has come back very strong and still competes with that slight air cast or some kind of padding on her foot, and has done very well this year.
It's obviously giving her a little bit of support, and I think that the injury is still there, and she's still feeling some of the pains, but she's a tough competitor, and I'm telling you, she's a top all-around athlete and should be a contender for the national title.
Dana has scored a season high of 9.80, which is also her career high in this event, and ranks very high nationally. She ranks number 12 nationally on the bars. And before we catch Dana Dobransky, let's go over to the vault and get Casey Buther for Auburn. Make that Kirsten Fox is up for Auburn. Kirsten Fox with her second vault.
Well, Kirsten just performed with a handspring with a 1.5 twist. Now the value of that vault is only out of a 9.6.
And now we're back to Dana Dobransky on the bars.
That's a very nice move right there. It's called a counter swing. It will give her some bonus points, and so will this move right here. Beautiful high Dekachev release move. Dana has nice lines on the uneven bars. Good handstand work. Of course, trying not to give away any tense to the judges. Front with a half dismount. A nice comeback for the Alabama team.
A very nice routine for Dana Dobransky. Earlier, the score for Carrie Dooley was an 8.90. Now up on the vault for Auburn is Shannon Edmondson. Shannon, who has been one of the top all-arounders for Auburn this year.
Shannon was trying a really difficult element on this event. It was a half on to the horse and a half twist off with a front tuck, and that vault is out of a 10.0. It's very difficult, Dave, because it's a blind landing. She's landing forward. It's very difficult to know exactly where you are, and timing is so important with a vault like that.
Now, when she's hit it this year, she scored very well. She scored a school record 9.80 with this vault this year. So Shannon Edmondson, who has become a very fine all-arounder, she is a senior out of Rixieville, Virginia, and has become one of the real team leaders along with Danielle Pritz for the Auburn Tigers.
The luxury, of course, on the women's vaulting event is that they have 2 chances and they take the best score. Again, a tough break for Shannon. She didn't have quite enough rotation to land this vault. It is very difficult, I should mention.
All right, we move back to the bars where we will have Catherine Kelleher for Alabama. She's a junior out of Cincinnati, and Catherine has scored very well this year. She tied the school record with a 9.90, and in fact, that was in Alabama's most recent meet, a victory over Nebraska. Keep in mind, Alabama's undefeated this year. No team has finished ahead of Alabama in all of its competitions, so for now, they're trying to do something very rare in collegiate gymnastics, and that's go through the entire season unbeaten.
A lot of difficulty at the top of her tee. She mounts with a straddle over. Giant swing, and here's her big move right here. It's called giant with a full turn in combination to a Tkachev, a very impressive combination. Working really well from bar to bar. She has such nice clean lines, nice straight legs. In her dismount, toe on front with half. Very well done, and nice bar score. Look at this move right here. A giant with a full turn right on top of the bar. And what's so impressive about this move is she combines it into her release skill called a reverse X or Tkachev.
So Catherine Kelleher following up a fine routine of Dana Dobranski. Dana Dobranski scoring a 9.60. Catherine Kelleher with that routine figures to score at least as high, probably higher, because that looked like the best routine of the four for Alabama up to this point. There's Catherine Kelleher getting some congratulations from her teammates and from head coach Sarah Patterson. Again, we will see a lot of staggered events, and we'll be jumping around at different places tonight. And right now we're going to move back to the vault, and we have Danielle Pritz up for Auburn. Again, somebody who has had an outstanding year. Danielle with a career best of 9.80, and along with Shannon Edmondson, she shares that Auburn record in this event. In fact, she holds the Auburn record in vault, balance beam, and floor exercise, so she has had an outstanding year. Sophomore out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Danielle is very strong on this event. She has been working a new vault. She performed it very well right there. It's called the Cuervo vault, the handstand with the half turn in the tuck position. And she throws a back tuck out of that. The value of that vault is a 9.9.
Danielle Pritz getting some congratulations from her teammates. First, they need to get a big score there after the problem Shannon Edmondson had. They want to keep moving that score up. Auburn looking for a big team score tonight and needs to score big in this road meet because they're right on the verge of one of those top 12 spots for nationals. Auburn is ranked 14th right now, so they would like to get another big road score before the regionals 2 weeks from now. And they, of course, are in the Central region along with Alabama. The score over on the bars for Catherine Kelleher, we thought it was a fine routine, and indeed she scored a 9.80. And now we'll take a look at Gina Basile for Alabama, the junior out of Whippany, New Jersey.
Gina has a very nice routine, unique combination right here. Giant with a half turn to a front giant. Very clean. Nice handstand work on the low bar. She swings the bar so freely. Her transition move, moving back up to the high bar. Free hip circle, very clean so far, no deductions. Giant full turn, which makes it look so easy. Double pike dismount, very well done.
Very nice routine by Gina Basile, who has finished second each of the last 2 years in the SEC bars competition, so she's right on the edge. Of course, she's going to have some very tough competition, not only from the rest of the town, but just from her own team, because Dee Dee Foster comes into this meet tonight with a high of 9.85 on the bars, and of course, Dee Dee finished second at the NCAA Championships last year with a fine bars routine that helped lead her to the all-around championship. Now the score for Basile tonight, I believe 9.80. So another fine score for Alabama. They have two 9.80s, a 9.7, and a 9.6.
Nice opening amount, jump to a handstand. Dee Dee has power, strength, and confidence written all over her. Watch this combination. Oh. And a big miss. She had so much speed and height going into that move. That's called a Tkachev, and she does hers in a mixed grip. She has had some problems with this move throughout the year.
And that fall right there even though we're just in our first rotation, has really stirred things up, because what we have right away is the all-around title has now flown wide open, because Dee Dee Foster is going to lose at least 5/10 on this event. Plus, now the team title is really opened up. Alabama, with 2 falls on the bars, is in jeopardy of counting a very low score here that will lower their overall team score.
And Dave, what very few individual athletes have on this event are 2 release skills, and Dee Dee did complete the other release skill, which was similar to this one right here. This is where she had the problem. It's a very tough move. It's called the Tkachev. Now she'll fly well over the high bar, beautiful height, and she catches in a mixed grip. You can see just not enough to hang on to that bar. She had a lot of force coming out of that move.
And there is Rochelle Fruget, who, again, one of the top all-arounders in the country and one of the great floor workers in the country. And earlier, Elfie Schlegel had a chance to talk to her, and here's a championship profile of Rochelle Fruget.
It's been a disappointing season for the LSU team. A lack of depth has kept the Tigers from advancing into the nation's top 5. But for Lady Tiger senior Rochelle Fruget, it's been the season of a lifetime. Fruget has set or tied 4 LSU records this season, including a 10 on the floor exercise in the final regular meet of the year. Fruget's performance was especially sweet because it came in her final appearance before the home fans on senior night in Baton Rouge.
And there were tons of people there in the crowd, and I wanted to, prove to myself that for the last 4 years I have worked hard, and thank the fans, thank Dee and my coaches, as well as myself, and, scoring a 10 just was my way of saying thanks to everything and everybody.
10-0 not only capped off a wonderful season for you, you hold 4 of 5 LSU records. What's in store for the rest of the season for you?
I hope to do as well here as, be in the top 3 here, regionals and nationals, and that's my goals as an individual.
The teams have suffered a few setbacks, Rochelle, and going into the SEC Championships tonight, what are the expectations?
We really haven't set any expectations as to where we're going to place in the all-around. We're here to get a score. As you know, we're 9th in the rankings. We dropped really way down, and we need to get a good road score, the same as regionals. If we can get a good road score here and at regionals, we're going to be set in the nationals, and whether that score places us in the first place or 6th place, we're going to be happy.
And here is Rochelle Fruget, the outstanding gymnast for LSU. She's a senior out of Baton Rouge. And as we mentioned earlier, she has scored 10 in this event earlier this year, and she is one of the favorites here. She's ranked very high nationally in the all-around. Rochelle ranks 6th nationally, 2nd among SEC athletes behind Dee Dee Foster. And speaking of Dee Dee Foster, her score on the bars was a 9.005. So that fall, very costly. That will count as Alabama's 5th score, since you remember earlier Carrie Dooley scored an 8.90. But now Rochelle Fruget, one of the great floor workers in America.
Dave, she has the ability to really captivate this audience. She is quite the entertainer. Always a beautiful smile on her face, and she has some unique choreography. Opening tumbling run, front through the layout to a Rudy. That's a 1.5 twist, and actually that gets her some bonus points. About her style, she's out there to have a great time, very confident in all the skills that she performs. She's getting set for a 2nd tumbling run, front summy to a round off full twist. Final tumbling pass, another Rudy. That's a D.2 value. She did that move into a layout position. Very entertaining. I had a lot of fun watching this routine.
Rochelle Fruget, we can see why she's one of the great entertainers and gymnasts in America. That score is going to be a very interesting one to post and see that the other gymnasts, including Pam Titus and Hope Spivey, will try to beat. And as we take a look at the crowd, let's take a look at a routine that we saw a little earlier. This is the other part of the 1-2 LSU punch, Jamie Snowpeck. Jamie, a senior out of Horseheads, New York.
Dave, Jamie's had some injury problems. I understand that she's had some muscle spasms in her lower back, and she actually had to sit out the last home gymnastic competition. So she's back trying to help her LC team to an SEC title. Obviously, by looking at Jamie, she's a very powerful athlete. Very easy opening tumbling run, a double pike dummy. To an immediate punch run, a really nice combination. With all that power, Jamie's going to try to finish with just as strong an opening tumbling pass, a double back again in a tuck position. A little bit of a problem on the landing. Nice comeback for Jamie Snowpeck.
Jamie Snowpeck from LSU, a senior out of Horseheads, New York. And let's go right over to the beam where we have Suzanne Gutierrez, one of the multitude of freshmen for the University of Kentucky. She's out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And earlier this year, she set the Kentucky school record with a 9.80 on the beam.
Jump to a handstand mount in the front split position. Now watch this mount. Very well done. A reverse planche in a split position. Tough move to hold. Here's your acrobatic combination. Two back handsprings to a layout. Very well done. You can see that skill takes the entire length of the beam. Here's your leap combination to switch leap. And Dave, that's a requirement that the judges are looking for. Of course, the girls can do it in any style or any leg position that they wish. Nice move right here. Handstand pirouette, showing some good balance. To a full twist, certainly one of the bright stars for Kentucky.
Very nice job by Susan Gutierrez, and we're going to be back for the second rotation when we return after these messages.
Attention!
Now with injury, Jennifer Carbone, and then of course those great freshmen, Spivey and Macy. And we asked Suzanne Yacklin about the loss of Heather Stepp and what this means as Georgia goes down the road the rest of the season.
Well, actually, Heather's injury was very much a rude awakening. It really knocked the wind out of everyone. As you said, we were on a roll, and we really felt like we were a team that was in strong contention for a national championship. We still feel like we're in there. We just don't feel that we've got the same margin of error. And it's taken some reevaluating of some goals and some real soul-searching in the last couple of weeks. But our team has made a decision that we're already winners, that it's the journey that's been the most important, not the final destination.
What do you do in terms of logistics, moving people around now? You mentioned you don't have the margin of error. What do you do to try to make up the best you can at this point?
Well, it's been pretty difficult also because we've had two other injuries. Lisa Alisea, as an all-arounder, broke her toe a couple weeks ago, and Julie Potsdam, one of our top beam workers, sprained her ankles just 3 days ago. So really, we don't have a lot of people to move around. We don't have a lot of depth. We only have 5 people on floor and vaulting, but the 5 we've got are incredibly good, and if they hit, they can do as well as any 6 from another team.
You mentioned they're incredibly good, and of course you have one in Hope Spivey, who's been the outstanding freshman this year, and beyond being a freshman, one of the great gymnasts in the country. What has she meant to your program coming in and performing so well so quickly?
Well, she's meant a considerable amount because, of course, she's, you know, a 9.9 on every event. And it's made a big impact, you know, very quickly as a freshman to be able to score that high on a regular basis. She's also been injured and has not been competing bars for the last 2 months. And so tonight will be her first all-around meet in 2 months.
What kind of pressure is there coming into this meet, and it's at a neutral site, and you've lost some top gymnasts, now you've got to perform against some other great teams, and you don't have that home crowd helping you out to help you get through this meet?
Well, it's true that we don't have a home crowd, but we do have a crowd, you know, our fans, and our fans can be pretty intense, the same as our team can be pretty intense, and I don't know that numbers is necessarily what's going to make a difference in terms of a home advantage, that it's the intensity that can make the difference, and we're hoping that our small entourage of people can give us and help us with that intensity.
Sophia Royce opens Georgia's evening of competition on the vault, and Elfie, take us through that first vault for the junior out of Evanston, Illinois.
Well, actually, the team injuries have really hurt the depth of this team, and it's unusual for me to watch their first competitor up, Sophia Royce, performing a handspring full. I'm used to watching the Georgia gymnasts performing vaults that are worth a 10.0 value, and this particular vault is only out of a 9.5.
And Sophia Royce only has a career best of 9.1, and this year her best score in this event, 8.70.
Of course, will be performing the same second vault, handspring with a full twist. Again, a very weak landing. She's not used to doing this vault, so it's credit to her that she's out there helping her team.
Sophia Royce for Georgia opening the vault competition. And this rotation, Georgia's on the vault. Alabama's at bye along with LSU. Auburn is on the bars. Florida is on the beam, and Kentucky is on the floor. And for Florida and Georgia, this will be their first rotation of the evening. And so we'll see how they get going. Alabama, of course, in its first rotation had some problems on the bars. So it'll be interesting to see how the teams do in terms of picking up and taking advantage. The second competitor on vaulting for Georgia will be Jennifer Carbone.
Dave, what you'll see from the rest of the competitors on the Georgia team is very high difficulty on the vaulting event. They do a lot of front type of vaults, which are worth 9.9s and even 10.0s. Jennifer will be performing a front tuck. There's her handspring to a front tuck position and a steeper landing. As I said, that particular vault in the tuck position is worth a 9.9.
Very nice job by Jennifer Carbone, and they needed it because obviously they're going to have a tough time if they have to count that first vault. And as we mentioned, Suzanne Yochlin said, very small margin for error tonight. Their people are going to have to hit. And we move over to the beam now, where Florida's Jocelyn Rathman is up. The first competitor, Lisa Panzeroni, had a very tough time, fell off the beam at least once. And so Florida has lost its margin of error already on the beam, and Jocelyn Rathman has competed extremely well. She's just a freshman, has scored a 9.85 this year. And what's even more impressive about that score, she's been doing it in this number 2 position, where it's a little bit tougher to get that score early in the rotation.
I talked to Jocelyn earlier, and she said that she feels more comfortable in the number 2 position, mainly because she doesn't have a lot of time to worry about her skills. Her acrobatic series is coming up right here. It's a very difficult aerial to a back handspring. Very well done. Again, it is very difficult to start the event off on balancing. And as you mentioned, there is not a lot of room for error on this particular apparatus, so it's nice to get this one over with. Here's our leap combination, split leap, to a cat leap full, and that particular move is worth some bonus points. The way that they score this routine is it starts from a 9.6, and the girls can build with bonus points. That particular skill is as difficult as any layout. It's a double turn done on the beam that's worth 2/10 of a bonus. Jocelyn's big acrobatic skills coming up right here, and she'll perform it right through to a dismount. 2 back handsprings, to a layout, to a full twist dismount. A very nice job.
Very nice job. You never know she's a freshman, the way she has hit that routine meet after meet this year. And here's the score from the first rotation for Alabama, a 48.05. LSU, that was on the bars. LSU with a 47.95 on the floor. Auburn had a 47.40 in vaulting, and Kentucky had a 46 even, and that was on the beam. Not a real great score there. Alabama 48.05. Not an outstanding score, a little bit under their season average of 48.3 and well under their season high of 49.1. And as we try to gather some other scores, we'll also go to some more competition. The scores over on the beam, we do know Lisa Pasquaroni scored 8.90 for the opening beam routine for Florida. And next up on the vault for Georgia is Chris Rodas, the junior out of Fullerton, California. Chris has a career high of 9.65. And again, one of the outstanding floor exercise and vault workers in the conference. He finished 5th in the NCAA and was an All-American in 1989 in this event as a freshman.
And actually, a 9.6 season high is an excellent score because the vault that Chris performed is a layout Tsukahara. The value is only a 9.7. Done very well. She held that laid out position for an awfully long time, but landed a little bit short. This is a traditional vault that the girls are using. It's the Tsukahara. There's the half turn onto the horse, a laid out position. You can see just holding on to that position a little bit too long and short on her landing.
Chris Rodas, again, the junior out of Fullerton, California.
The same second vault and performed much better. The layout Tsukahara, and as I said, a better landing.
Chris Rodas, so Georgia's starting to pick up some scores now in vaulting. And let's take a look at that second vault, Elfie.
It was performed much better, Dave. She had a lot more speed. She had good lift off the horse. There's her half turn, nice high layout, and a much better landing than the first vault.
And we move over to the bars now, where we have Danielle Pritz for the for Auburn University. Danielle with a season best of 9.70 in this event. Again, we have talked about Auburn, one of the up-and-coming teams, very good athletically, much better than they have been in the past. And she's one of the people that Robert Diller will be building his program around for the next couple of years.
She's already a team leader. There's a giant fold done in a little bit of a different style on the high bar. Moving back down to low bar, handstand. Of course, girls have to do at least 2 elements on the low bar, and that's a requirement the judges are looking for. The giant's been very clean line so far. Front with the half dismount, no major release moves, but she went through the routine cleanly.
Danielle Pritz being congratulated by her teammates. And here is Christina McDonald. Christina getting ready for her beam routine and warming up. And earlier, Elfie had a chance to talk to her. And let's take a championship profile look at Christina McDonald.
The Lady Gators of Florida suffered a subpar season in 1990, and coming into the 91 season, Coach Ernie Weaver was looking for leadership to lead the Lady Gators back to the top of the conference pack. On opening night, Weaver found her leader, junior Christina McDonald, who scored the second highest all-around in Florida history and established herself as the foundation from which Florida would build for the 91 season. McDonald went on to establish new career highs in both the uneven bars and the balance beam during the season. But it has been her quiet brand of leadership and confidence that has set the tone for a revival in Lady Gator gymnastics.
This year, it's been great to compete in the all-around again. It's very exciting. I really enjoy it. I didn't know I'd be vaulting again this year, so it's been an added plus to my competition season. I really enjoyed going out there and doing the best I can for my team.
The freshmen have added a lot of depth to the team. Has this taken off some of the pressure to some of the upperclassmen?
It has in some areas. There's a lot of freshmen. They make up about half our team this year. So they come in and we need to show them the ropes a little, being upperclassmen, and introduce them into collegiate gymnastics or used to club gymnastics at home. And they've done a great job in helping us where those tired freshmen are lacking a little.
Realistically, what do you think Florida's chances are to win the SEC title and your own personal goals?
I think we have a shot at top 3. We've come a long way this year. We've achieved a lot of goals that we wanted to. And realistically, I think we can go out there and just compete like we have in the past weeks that we've done and just do the same job. And I think we'll come out in a good showing.
Fitzgerald is now preparing to go up, and she's got some added pressure on her right now, Alfie, because Florida's first 4 competitors on the beam, 2 of them fell. Lisa Panzeroni scored an 8.9 after falling. Jocelyn Rathman, we saw a very nice routine, scored a 9.55. Then Melissa Kutcher came back, and she had problems and scored an 8.90. They're still waiting to flash Lynette Whitmire's score, but it's apparent that if Florida is going to get in there into the chase for one of the top couple spots tonight, they're going to need some good routines now out of Chris McDonald and then, of course, out of Tracy Wilson.
I remember this position very well. It is very tough to be later on in the lineup. Either way, if the team is hitting, you feel that pressure, you've got to hit. And then when the team is down, you still feel that same pressure. So it's sort of a no-win situation. Basically, what it boils down to is just going out there and doing the job that you do every day in the practice gym.
And Chris McDonald ready to begin now. And we'll try to pass along the score for Lynette Whitmire. We have a 9.40 for Lynette Whitmire tonight.
Christina opens with a planche mount. Now, most of the girls have acrobatic series. What I mean by that, there's combinations of skills that include aerial moves. And this is Christina's first acrobatic series. 2 back handsprings to a layout. Very well done. Pike jump to a straddle jump. Showing skills up high on the bounce beam on the top of your toes. You have to do some movements down low. The combination, switch leg lead. Combination to an aerial cartwheel, very well performed. Dave, she's moving very nicely, and this is the maturity that you need on a team in this pressure situation right at this point. And here her teammates cheering her on, her dismount. And 1 step on her landing. Very nice routine to come back on. So
Chris McDonald manages to come through for Florida, and I wanted to up the score on Lynette Whitmire. That score we gave you was a 9.40. She scored a 9.50 on her beam routine. Now here is Hope Spivey for the University of Georgia.
And she is just a bundle of power. Check out this vault. Done so well. You can see she had so much extra power. It was a front summy with a half twist. She actually rebounded out of the landing.
And then over on the bars, we have Shannon Edmondson for Auburn.
Nice giant swing. Shannon has very nice lines. Giant with a full turn into a double back summy dismount.
And being congratulated by her teammates as we move back for the second vault for Hope Spivey.
She's going to have to concentrate just a little bit more on her landing. This vault is out of a 10.0. There's the front with a half. Okay, the landing was slightly better. It was a little bit low, and the judges will certainly take a slight deduction for that.
So as we work our way through the second rotation here, up to this point, we've seen a few problems for all the contenders. Florida with a few problems on the beam, but right now, Tracy Wilson, one of the great beam workers in America, an All-America in this event last year when she finished 4th at the NCAAs, and this year setting a Florida record in her last home meet, 9.95, and quite an accomplishment for Tracy Wilson, who has come back very strong in this her senior year, really to be the best gymnast she's been in her 4 years at Florida.
I think Tracy has found herself in this situation many times before. It's tough going last up on the bounce beam, knowing that your team is depending on this final routine.
Over to the floor where we have Michelle Ogden, another one of the freshmen for Kentucky. She's out of Orange Park, Florida.
Michelle opened up with an opening tumbling run. It was a double twist. Fairly simple, but she did perform it really well. She came set for a second tumbling pass. Front summy through to a rounded back handspring full twist. lot of difficulty, but what she did very well.
Michelle Ogden, the freshman out of Orange Park, Florida, one of that group of 7 freshmen for a Kentucky roster that is dotted with freshmen, 1 sophomore, and a couple seniors. Of course, they dearly miss Amy Wynn, who injured her heel, an Achilles heel problem. There you saw Amy congratulating her teammate. Amy, of course, was the NCAA Southeast Regional Champion last year in all-around, so a tremendous competitor and one of the best in the SEC. As we're winding down on this second rotation, let me pass along a couple more scores for you. Christina McDonald scored a 9.65 on her beam routine, so that helped Florida out. And, of course, they'll need a score out of Tracy Wilson. And I'm not quite sure they're going to get much of one because Tracy Wilson fell on the beam while we were watching Ogden on the floor. I happened to notice that she fell on the beam. So Florida with 3 falls out of their 6 competitors, and this is an event where, and let's take a look at Tracy Wilson and see exactly what the problem was, Elfie.
Tracy has a lot of unique skills in her routine, and as we said before, she's done this routine many, many times before and has been in this pressure situation. She opens up with a really nice syllabus mount. That's named after a very famous Romanian gymnast. You can see right off the top here on a very simple full turn, she has to check herself and her balance, and she's getting set for her first acrobatic series, and it's very difficult. It's 2 combinations of back handsprings into a layout. You can see way off to the right side.
And a very, very devastating blow for Florida because beam, obviously one of their best events. They came into this meet with the 2nd best beam score in the country this year as a team.
It's important, though, in this situation, knowing that you had 2 falls already, not to have another fall because Tracy still is capable of scoring in the 9s. That was an interesting skill. It's called an Emilienchik, a back handspring with a quarter turn and a back hip circle. Again, just another small little balance break there. Getting set for a dismount, this is a combination skill. Round off, back handspring to a full twist. Again, unfortunate for the fall. It looks as if they will have to use that score.
Well, all 6 teams have competed now, so we're in the full swing of this meet as we move to our 3rd rotation. And we'll be back with the rotation after these messages on... Let's go down to Miami, and on Sunday evening, it's the Houston Rockets in town. As they visit the Miami Arena, check your local listings for availability in your area. Back again at the Memorial Coliseum at Lexington, Kentucky. We're getting ready for the 3rd rotation now at the SEC Gymnastics Championships, and that 2nd rotation, although we don't have a final score on Florida's beam routines, unofficially a 46.75, which matches Florida's lowest score for the season on the beam, and a very disappointing start for Florida. Over on the vault, there's Suzanne Yakovleva for Georgia. I'm sure she was happy with the way her vaulters got off to a good start, and they'll be moving over to the bars now. This is the 1st rotation where all the top teams will be going head-to-head, so to speak. Georgia will be on the bars. Alabama will now move to the beam. Florida will be on the floor, and LSU will be over on vaulting. The broadcast rights to tonight's telecast have been granted to Sports Channel Florida by the Southeastern Conference solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or other use of this program without the express written consent of Sports Channel Florida is prohibited. And Sarah Patterson, now her team had a rough time on the bars, moves to the beam, and they're in a position where they can take themselves out of the meet or put themselves right in the thick of it with a good set of beam routines.
No, I think, Dave, what we've seen early on is anything can happen. These teams are so strong. There's so much difficulty in each one of their routines, and it's just one of those competitions where you have to tune into your own team and not get caught up in the action around. I think you can get intimidated by hearing the cheers of some of the other teams, and so it's basically at this point in time, it's a focusing time, and they need to zoom in on each and every one of their routines.
And here is Florida head coach Ernie Weaver. She's been through this, of course, 11 other times, or 10 other times, 10 other SEC championship meets. She's won 5 of them. And, of course, she was working after the beam to get her team psyched up, keep them in this meet mentally, because it's very easy for you to lose a grip on your concentration if you open in a very tough spot the way Florida did on the beam. And then for LSU, Dee Dee Pollock. Her team performed pretty well on the floor, and she knows she's in position. Dee Dee came in here last year figuring as about the fourth best team in the conference and surprised everybody when LSU finished second and really did a nice job of making a run at Alabama for the title. And this year again comes into that same position. Everybody says, well, they're a dark horse. They're going to have to really perform well to be a competitor for one of the top couple spots. But as you can see, if you just hit your routines here, the scores will take care of themselves. And we're just about set to begin this third rotation. And opening for Georgia on the bars this evening will be Jennifer Carbone. Jennifer has a season and career best of 9.70 in this event.
I think you can pretty much expect the Georgia team going after it all. They know that they're shy on the depth of the team, but each one of these girls, as I said before, has a lot of talent. Here's a big move right here, reverse hex. Big miss again from their starting athlete at the 5-10 reduction.
Okay, while we wait for Jennifer Carbone, here are your scores through 2 rotations. Keep in mind, Auburn and Kentucky have competed on 2 rotations, and that's why they have the lead scores. But after 1 rotation, a great vault score for Georgia, 48.35. Alabama, 48.25. LSU, 47.95. And then Florida with that disappointing, I'm sure, beam score, 46.75. So right there,
here are a few reasons why your next business trip should include.
Coming up for a second release skill, Takacha reverse hex actually in a mixed grip position. She stays up on the high bar, handstand with a half turn. Giant swing, a little bit of a form air right there into a double tuck dismount, solid landing.
Chris Rodas. Now let's move back over to the beam where we have Kim Masters for the University of Alabama.
Kim opens up with a very nice round on the back handspring onto the beam. That's a skill that you watch girls perform before their big double backs on the floor exercise. Kim's in a very important position. Their first girl up, hit with a 9.7 as you mentioned. Back handspring to a layout, very solid. Jump scissor kick to an aerial cartwheel, a little bit of a balance break. Working down low on the balance beam. Jump straddle. Again, one of the requirements the judges are looking for, a jump or a leap showing great amplitude. And a dismount, punch front with a full. Nice routine.
Very nice job by Kim Masters. And on the bars, we will have Hope Spivey next. That score for Kim Masters was a 9.65, so Alabama getting off to a very good start with a 9.65 and a 9.7. Hope Spivey on the bars. Suzanne Yocklin mentioned that this is somebody who scored 9.9 in every event, and indeed, her season high is a 9.90 on the bars.
A lot of times, Dave, some of the Olympians that enter into the college scene lose some of the skills, but I can guarantee you this, Hope Spivey has a lot of difficulty in each one of her routines. They're very impressive and they're very, very difficult.
Hope, of course, a member of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team that competed in Seoul, finished third at the United States Olympic trials that year. And she's waiting while they try to get Chris Rodas to score. Hope, of course, also 5th at the 1987 Pan Am Games in the all-around. So this is a great international competitor who has come onto the collegiate gymnastics scene.
Now, you've got to look very quickly because she has a big skill right at the top of her routine. She's a giant to a full turn and a very impressive Takacha. Excuse me, that was a delta in a mixed grip position. Very difficult combination. We've seen so many Takachas, that move is almost becoming a compulsory move. Every girl in this meet has at least one in their routine. 2 nice giant swings. very high double tuck dismount. She was awfully close to that high bar. Nice work on the high bar. There's her giant with a full turn, and she moves right in combination. She switches her hand grip. There's the skill called a Delchev. Very well done. It's very difficult. In fact, she was having some problems in the warm-up earlier. Obviously, no problems here at all.
And we move back to vaulting now, where we have Rochelle Fruget for LSU. Of course, Rochelle is going to be one of the 2 or 3 people to look for as a threat to win the all-around championship, not only in the SECs, but nationally as well.
Full twist on and a full twist off, and Rochelle always has that ability to stick her vault landings. This vault is actually out of a 9.90, but you can see her scoring almost maximum points.
Rochelle with the season high in vaulting of 9.80. She has scored very well, obviously, all the way through. All her season highs are 9.80 or higher in every event. She has a 39.45 as her season high in all-around, which ranks right up there as one of the top scorers in the country. And we move back to the bars where we have Sandy Roulette for the University of Georgia.
And this is a different skill right here, Dave. It's called a Shishinova. It's a full twisting Takachev. Very impressive. In fact, I think Sandy's one of the only athletes in the country performing that skill. Nice giant work. She swings so freely. Beautiful body position. Toe on, front with a half. Just one step on her dismount.
Sandy Roulette, a sophomore from Indian Harbor Beach, Florida. And we now move back to the beam where we have Gina Basile for the University of Alabama.
Gina's going to try to keep the momentum going. This Alabama team has been hitting all the routines.
And let's mention the score for Cheryl Dundas was a 9.65 on the beam, so every score 9.65 or higher for Alabama through the first 3 competitors.
Big skill here, round off to a layout. Very solid. Interesting skill right there, and a fall. You can see her feet did touch the floor, so that's a 5/10 deduction. Getting set for her dismount. Round off, back handspring step out to a full twist. So halfway through the routine set, 1 fall for the Alabama team.
And we will move back to the vault now where we have Jamie Snopek for LSU.
Jamie is a very powerful vaulter. Front in a tuck position. That vault was a 9.9.
And her season high is a 9.9 in vaulting for Jamie Snopek. And back on floor now, we'll get our first look actually at floor-to-floor exercises. It'll be Chris McDonald. And Chris, of course, she's one of the people who's in the hunt for the all-around title tonight. She had a 9.65 on the beam, which is a solid score. And, of course, we know she will have to score in the bars and floor because her vault just does not score that well. So if she's going to challenge for the all-around title, she'll have to score very well here on floor.
Christina does a lot of unorthodox type of tumbling, very unique skills, very much the same as Rochelle Fruget, but what she makes up for is in her dance ability. Tumbling run, front through to a Rudy back handspring. Now that particular skill is a key element. It also has 2/10 bonus. So already her routine has started from a 9.8. Middle tumbling run, double twist. Very solid landing. pass, more front tumbling, front scooter layout to a fly sprint. Very well done. This is a beautiful routine. Nice performance.
Christina McDonald helps out Florida, and they needed some help on the floor. They need to get rolling here, and she pulled off a very nice routine. And we will move back to the bars now, where we are going to see Kelly Macy, freshman out of Overland Park, Kansas. Her season high is 9.90 in the uneven bars.
Dave, Kelly has tons of difficulty. I was watching her in the warm-up. Just a lot of difficulty. Giant with a half-turn, front giant, moves into a Tkachev. A lot of bonus skills just in all those combinations right there. Kip cast to the handstand. Giant swing. Giant with another full turn into a double tuck dismount. Good landing. Great routine.
And Suzanne Yaklin extremely excited. And well, she should be, because the last two competitors tonight have done extremely well in the bars. Sandy Willette scored a 9.85, and then got routine for Kelly Macy was also good for a 9.85. And next up on the floor for Florida, it is Pam Titus. Pam, who earlier this year got the first 10 in collegiate gymnastics history on floor exercise, and it sort of opened the floodgates, because now we've had 3 of them besides her. But Pam Titus, who has some of the most electric tumbling we'll see all evening.
She's very dynamic, very powerful. Good choice of music for Pam's style. She has had some problems later on in the season with her opening tumbling run, and this is it right here. It's an open double back. Very well done. Double twist, second tumbling pass, of course, with difficulty this high. It's very important that you land all your landings very solidly. The judges are always looking for those small tents to take on the landings. What very few athletes do is end with as much difficulty as they opened up with. Pam ends with a double tuck. Good height and another solid landing. This is a routine that has been lost for a little while, and she's got it back.
Pam Titus with a very exciting performance and figures to get a very big score. Let's take a look at her being congratulated by our teammates, and now move to the beam, where we have Dee Dee Foster, the final competitor on the beam this evening for Alabama. Dee Dee, of course, an All-American in every event, and on the beam she finished second nationally last year. She has a season and career best of 9.90.
Ooh, what a beautiful opening now. Press handstand down to a plunge position. Of course, you know what's on Dee Dee's mind. She wants to hit this event, and she is a very true competitor, and after having a little bit of problems on uneven bars, she can be very focused. Solid back handspring to a layout. Leg leap. Nice tight jump. Dave, what was really impressive about that jump was she had a tight position, right in the horizontal position. And actually, that's worth a bonus of either a D.1 or a C+1, and it's really up to the judges to decide. Very original choreography, working down low on the beam. Acrobatic series, pike jump to her back handspring. She's getting set for a big dismount. This is a double back. You can see Dave Patterson sitting in beside the beam. Nice dismount. It's a perfect landing.
Outstanding routine by Dee Dee Foster. And we'll be back to check her score and Pam Titus' score on the floor when we return for the 4th rotation on streaming for you late bloomers, the World Championships Kickboxing. Those events tonight, and check your local listings for availability in your area. halfway through the SEC Gymnastics Championships here at the University of Kentucky Memorial Coliseum. And through 3 rotations, what we saw, of course, in the 3rd rotation was Alabama pick things up dramatically, counting 5 scores of 9.65 or better. And that routine we saw by Jeannie Foster, good for a 9.85. And that floor routine for Pam Titus, well, we thought it was very good, and indeed a 9.9 for Pam Titus, and that is a record, I believe, for SEC meet. And that will be a score that Hope Spivey will be shooting at later this evening when she gets her chance on the floor. Now, this rotation will have LSU on the bars, Auburn will be on the beam, Alabama will move the floor, and Kentucky will be on the vault with Florida and Georgia at 5. And here is the vault where the home team, Kentucky, is finishing its warm-up. Again, Alabama put itself in tremendous position by scoring so well on the beam. There's head coach Leah Little for the University of Kentucky. Very happy to have a chance to host this meet. She's been looking forward to this for many years. And, of course, she's been one of the big supporters of gymnastics in the SEC and nationally. I believe she was actually the president of the National Coaches Association for a year. So it'll be a little sort of a dream come true for a program having the SEC meet in Kentucky. And then Robert Dillard, head coach for Auburn. Robert's been steadily putting together a good group of athletes. That's the first thing he had to do, was really upgrade the talent level at Auburn. He's done that over the past several years, and Auburn now on the verge of finding a spot in those national championships, and that's the goal that Auburn is after. And first up on the floor for the University of Alabama is Cheryl Dundas.
Nice opening and laid out double pike. Alabama always chooses such energetic music, and this is really important for the audience participation as well as their teammates. Round up back handspring, full twist to a punch front, right into a Shushinova. Nice combination. Routine for Alabama.
Cheryl Dundas, a freshman out of Austin, Texas, who has been a very impressive addition to the Alabama squad this year. And we move to the bars now, where we have Shaylin Streeter, another one of the freshmen competing in this meet. She's out of Dallas, Texas.
Ooh, and a nice opening. She did a front giant, changed her grip into a front Jaeger. Lots of giant swings you'll be seeing in this competition. 2 in a row. Half twist, a little bit of a form deduction there, going back down to the low bar. Inner dismount, toe on front tummy, solid landing.
Shaylin Streeter for LSU. And there is Sarah Patterson, her assistant coach and husband, David Patterson, right behind her. And there you can see, getting ready to go on, just behind the Pattersons is Tina Rinker, the senior out of Jacksonville, Florida, will be second up in floor exercise for Alabama tonight. Tina, who as a freshman 3-4 years ago now, one of the top all-arounders in the conference, finished 3rd in the all-around in this meet, but has had a tough time coming back to that height because the team has really just improved, and all the talent has pushed her back a little bit, but she has performed very well and has a 9.7 as her senior best in floor exercise.
Tina has a lot of personality on this event, and she'll show a lot of showmanship. Opening tumbling run and laid out double pike. lot of energy in this routine.
Tina Rinker from the University of Alabama. And we'll take a look now as we are just getting started in the fourth rotation. All the teams have competed 2 rotations in terms of different events tonight. You can see Georgia with the lead, 97.40. Very solid work on the bars, moved them in the lead. Alabama came back nicely from the problems they had on the bars and scored a big score on the beam to go up to 96.55. LSU hanging right in there in third. Auburn and Florida fourth, but keep in mind, Florida scored a 46.75 in beam, picked up to a 48.35 on the floor, which was scored a second-best floor score of the year. So Florida made up a lot of ground there, and Kentucky at 92.25. And now we are on the bars, and we have Christine McDonald for LSU.
Nice opening counter swing right to the handstand. That'll get her some bonus points. There's a release skill. Gelchuk in a mixed grip position. Again, bonus points. It's a bit of a break right there, Dave. She's supposed to do a handstand half turn over the bar, but covering up very well, keeping the momentum going. Giant swing working into her dismount. Toe on front with a half.
Christine McDonald, the sophomore out of Houston, Texas for Louisiana State University. And we move now over to the floor where we have Kara Stilp, a freshman out of Austin, Texas. Kara has a season best of 9.80.
Again, very energetic music. It's strong, it's powerful. Opening, double pike. That's the third same opening that we've seen from the Alabama team, and they're very solid in their landing. Round up backhand swing, full twist, and a punch front, 1 1/4. They get bonus points. It's a real trendsetter on this event. Strong routine.
And 3 very solid routines for Alabama to open up on floor, and we're getting a very good idea of why Alabama has been one of the highest scoring teams all season long. There's been very little variation out of their scores this year. They've been in that 192, 193 range almost every time out, and all the way up to 194 on occasion. On the bars, it will be Rochelle Fruget for LSU. Rochelle, of course, one of the top all-arounders in the conference in bars. Her season high is a 9.85 she scored in the meet against Georgia.
Rochelle, just as she showed on the floor exercise, a lot of unorthodox movement. She does some really interesting moves. There's a counter swing right up to the handstand. That's what I like about her style. It's very unique, and you definitely sit up and take notice. Nice release skill over the high bar. She's moving very well. What I really like about her style is her nice toe point, good extension, straight legs, giant with a half turn. Now she'll do a giant swing in between the 2 bars. She's just having an outstanding season. Front dismount, a little bit tight on the landing. Great routine.
One of the most innovative routines we've seen all year.
Now she's moving back over to the high bar. This is like a pike vault over the high bar. Very interesting skill.
And Rochelle Fruget, who is getting some congratulations from her coach, Dee Pollock. Apparently in a little pain, though, as she's walking around now, but a lot of different types of routines. It looks like her back, she might have jammed it or
Well, I think what you saw, Dave, is you could see her jolting her back. She had a bit of a stiff landing on her dismount. I was a little bit concerned there, but it may not be quite so bad, but it's very dangerous to land stiff-legged on your dismount.
And as we go around this 4-event competition here at the University of Kentucky Memorial Coliseum, we're in the 4th rotation of the 11th annual Southeastern Conference Gymnastics Championships. And what we're seeing, of course, is a competition that features some teams that will definitely be in the hunt for the national title. We're talking about Alabama and Georgia. Georgia, of course, serving notice even without Heather Stepp that they're a very formidable team. And we will move back to the beam now where we have Danielle Pritz from Auburn University. Danielle with a season high and career best of 9.75, which is the SEC Auburn record. And there you have Plaskett at 9.80, her season high.
Danielle has very nice lines. She's very smooth. She's having a great competition so far. Nice switch leg lead to a seesaw jump. This is nice to see. She's moving very well, very confident in her work. Of course, the idea here is to make it look very easy as if you're on the floor exercise. Very interesting back shoulder roll, working down low on the beam. It's not just enough to sit down on the beam. They should show some kind of movement that's worth some kind of value. A big fall here for Auburn. This is going to hurt her for her all-around score. It's a very difficult spin on the low on the balance beam, so she's going to have to pick up momentum. Again, another different skill, showing a lot of originality.
Foster, who will be coming up, and let's take a look at Dee Foster with a championship profile.
In our lead into tonight's show, we called Dee Foster the reigning queen of collegiate gymnastics. Why? Well, in less than 2 full seasons at Alabama, Foster has tied or broken every Crimson Tide record and captured the NCAA all-around title as a freshman. Foster has established herself as the top athlete in the conference, winning last year's award as SEC Female Athlete of the Year. As for a sophomore jinx, well, forget about it. Foster has raised her existing Alabama records for beam, floor, and all-around, as well as adding the vault and uneven bars records to her portfolio. With all this success should come a great deal of confidence.
I think my confidence level is up a little bit, you know, after my freshman year being so successful. You know, I think I've expected of me and some other people that I do just as well my sophomore year. And even though I have made some mistakes this year, I think it's to my benefit because it's keeping me humble, if anything. And I think my main focus for SECs is the team competition. Alabama won last year, and it was a big win for us. It was at the University of Georgia, and it was a really big deal for us. And we have 5 freshmen this year that have come really, really far and have done a lot for our team. And it would really mean a lot if we won again this year.
The one thing that is missing is an individual SEC title, as you mentioned in your freshman year. What would the SEC title mean for you, both as an individual and as a team member?
I think as an individual, I guess it would just be, you know, another bragging right, I guess, so to speak. Our main thing that we think about on the team is, you know, it's a team. And, you know, if we tend to focus more on individuals, it starts to put pressure on people, and we start to get a little, you know, antsy about competitions and so forth. But, of course, it would be nice to win the SEC Championship. I'm not going to, you know, doubt that, but that's not my main concern for tonight.
Well, Dee Foster's main concern right now is the floor exercise helping Alabama win the team championship, don't they?
Can't help but get into this routine, Dave. She has so much strength and confidence. Very powerful athlete, as you can well see in her tumbling skills. But there's such strength to her choreography. I say? That was an excellent routine. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Dee Dee Foster has come back very nicely from her problems on the bars, and you can see she liked it an awful lot, and so did her teammates. And the final competitor on the bars this evening for LSU, Jamie Snowpack.
What a real competitor Jamie is. She's doing an excellent job for this LSU team. There's a big skill. Shoot through to the handstand on the low bar. Big bonus skill right there. 3 hip circle to handstand with a half turn. Very tough to miss a meet the weekend before the SEC Championships. I'm sure Jamie had a lot of questions going into this event. Nice giant swings. Toe on front dismount. Just a 10th step on the dismount.
Nice routine, and Alabama's Dee Dee Foster waiting for her score, and they, of course, would like to see that 10. There's been some in the conference already. Pam Titus has posted a 9-9 for Florida tonight, so the judges obviously are going to compare and see what else they've found in Dee Dee Foster's routine, and we'll find out when we come back for the 5th rotation on Sports Channel.
To go that extra mile takes a healthy diet rich in protein. General Nutrition Center's Pro Performance Amino 1000 is the scientifically developed protein supplement. Amino 1000 can help give you the edge. To max your workout, you should be in great shape and can supplement your diet with Amino 1000's gel capsule designed for fast absorption. Amino 1000, exclusively at GNC, the authority in sports nutrition.
If you're not shopping Sneakers Machine, you're paying too much. Nike Airs that were $90, only $55. Nike Airs that were $80, only $50. Nike Cortez, all colors, suede, leather, and nylon start at only $35. Reebok pumps. The entire series of Reeboks are on sale. Men's high-top pumps, $85. Reebok pumps for kids, $60. Reebok pumps, ladies' cross-training shoes, $75. Sneakers Machine does it again. Some restrictions apply.
Attention wrestling fans, the Universal Wrestling Federation makes its Florida debut with the War Memorial in Fort Lauderdale, Saturday, April 6th, and at a television taping at Universal Studios in Orlando on Sunday, April 7th. To order tickets now, call 1-800-368-4UWF. Steve the Wild Thing Ray and Sunny Beach are Wet and Wild. The ever-popular B. Brian Blair, Cowboy Bob Orton and his manager, the Golden Greek, John Jonas, the despicable Colonel De Beers, the hard-hitting Power Twins, Bam Bam Bigelow, Boris Zukov, and more will be on hand, plus ladies wrestling. And at a spectacular main event at Universal Studios, you'll see Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff lead a 6-man tag team brawl. The UWF, Saturday, April 6th in Fort Lauderdale at the War Memorial, and Sunday, April 7th at Universal Studios in Orlando. Call 1-800-368-4UWF to reserve tickets to this wrestling spectacular. Call the UWF now.
Join us Saturday, March 30th at 1 p.m. for the Southeastern Conference Baseball Game of the Week when the Vanderbilt Commodores face the University of Georgia Bulldogs at Foley Field in Athens, Georgia. Check local listings for availability of the game in your area. And here's Amy Wynn, the standout gymnast for the University of Kentucky, who suffered a season-ending ankle or maybe an Achilles tendon injury. And Amy, of course, the Southeast Regional Champion last year, one of the great gymnasts in the conference. And earlier, Elfie had a chance to take a look at Amy Wynn.
Yeah, it was in November, and we were just tumbling at practice. And when I took off, my Achilles snapped, and so it tore in half. So I had to, go through surgery and everything. And then I got out of my cast in December. And so since then, I've just mainly been doing rehab. And they let me start doing bars a few weeks ago. So I can just do a little bit on bars, but that's basically it.
Are you a little disappointed not having the chance to compete in front of your hometown crowd for the big SEC Championship?
Yeah, it's really disappointing because you wait, all this time to have a really great meet, in your own home gym. And you have all those advantages, and then you get hurt.
You have a very young team, 7 freshmen. What does the future hold for the Kentucky team with yourself included?
Oh, I think, it's going to be really, really great because that's I think the main thing that the other teams have right now is that they have experience and everything. And I think that once our freshmen, get used to the way things work and get used to competing and
University of Kentucky, and Kentucky looking forward to having her back next year to help rally this young team. Of course, this is the place where Amy competes in all her home meets, the Memorial Coliseum. University of Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. The site of a lot of great athletic events in this conference in the past. Of course, before Rupp Arena was around, this is where the Kentucky Wildcats played all their basketball games. And this was the home of Adolph Rupp and some great Kentucky basketball teams. Now, though, it's the home of some of the best gymnastics in the country. And right now, we'll be moving into the 5th rotation. And we will see Florida on the vault. There's Pam Titus warming up. Florida again trying to move back up in the standings. Over on the bars, we will see Kentucky. And, of course, Florida, or Auburn make that, will be on floor exercise. And then in terms of the team title, the all-important beam event for Georgia. Georgia, of course, led after 2 rotations. And there is Leah Little, the head coach of the University of Kentucky. Again, very difficult when you're competing with a lot of young gymnasts who have not been through this type of competition. It's a little different, Elfie, when we talk about some of the freshmen at the other schools in the conference who have either been in international competition or on some major national teams. For them, collegiate gymnastics is not really stepping up in terms of more pressure, but for these Kentucky gymnasts, the young ones, they're seeing something tonight they haven't seen before.
And of course, they're working towards the future, and what better experience than the SEC conference itself. We know it's one of the toughest conferences in the country, and they're seeing all the action that goes on in the SEC. There's a lot of noise and cheering going on, and it's just an excellent opportunity for them to gain that valuable experience.
And we will start the beam competition for Georgia with Sophia Royce. And she had a 9.25 as her career best, but this year only a 9.40 as her season best.
Again, being the #1 athlete up on the beam, it's important to get the momentum and try to stay on as best you can. Round off, back handspring, layout, step out. That was a really nice jump, Dave. The fact that she lost sight of the beam adds a little bit of risk to that particular element. A little bit low on the landing, but nevertheless, she's quite happy with her first routine.
Sophia Royce staying on the beam, very important for Georgia. Before we went on that last break, Alpha, we mentioned that we saw the Alabama fans chanting 10, 10, 10, 10 for Dee Foster. Well, she came mighty close. 9.95 she scored. And there is Heather Stepp for the University of Georgia. Amazing. She just hurt that arm a couple weeks ago, and tonight in the pre-meet warm-up, she was out flying around and swinging her arms around, and obviously out for the season with that broken arm and torn ligaments, but should be back very strong next year for Georgia. But again, back to that floor, Dee Foster did score a 9.95 to set a conference record, and it led Alabama into the lead after the 4th rotation. You can see with 3 events completed for everybody but Georgia and Florida, Alabama 145.70, LSU scoring very well at 144.60. Next up for Georgia on the beam is Tracy Tilton. Again, she is a regular competitor on the beam. She has scored a 9.75 this year, but we never know exactly what this lineup would have been had Heather Stepp been available, Lisa Alicia, Julie Ponstein. All of those competitors might have moved people in and out of this Georgia lineup.
And what I'm seeing so far this evening, Dave, is this team has proven to have a lot of heart, and they're taking a lot of pride, and they know they've had a rough blow to their team in the last couple of weeks, some major injuries, but they're not giving up, and that's the really nice thing to see. Tracy's having just a little bit of a problem here. She's got some balance breaks, and of course, the more that you have, they add up quite a bit, so they're a little 1/10 deductions, maybe 2/10 here and there. Big break right there. She was supposed to hold that handstand element.
background, you see that score. That's the 9-6 that was scored for Sophia Royce as the first competitor for Georgia.
But nevertheless, she did stay on.
And over to the vault, we have Florida's Christina McDonald.
And as you mentioned before, Dave, this is a vault that's only valued out of a 9.6, so that definitely hurts her all-around score, but she just performed that very well. It was a full twist onto the horse.
Christina McDonald scored very well both on the bars and the floor this evening. We'll try to get you those scores as we start honing in on the all-around competition. Right now, make that on the beam and on floor. Florida, of course, will finish off the evening on the bars in final rotation. Chris, of course, waiting to get her score before she moves up. We're getting a clearance here from the judges before she takes her second vault. Her first vault score was a 9.2.
Again, she'll be performing the same second vault. Full twist onto the horse, handspring off, little step backwards on the landing.
And now on the beam for Georgia is Chris Rodeson. Although Tracy Tilton didn't fall off the beam, she scored a 9.5, so the deductions were not that heavy on her routine.
Chris is not a regular competitor on the balance beam. She's doing a dynamite job so far. She's performed a very difficult acrobatic skill back handspring to a 2-foot layout landing. And missing very badly on the beam. That was a gainer layout. She missed her first foot landing totally. That's a tough break. Again, getting a little bit nervous, focusing back on the routine. There's a jump series, not fully connected. That's a very nice jump. Jump with a half turn in a fourth split position.
So Chris Rodas, a few problems on the beam for Georgia. We move over to the vault where Christy Lewis will be up for Florida. Christy, of course, a freshman, one of several freshmen who have been big contributors for Florida this year. On the vault between Christy Lewis and Carrie Robidoux. On the bars, we'll see later Nicole Stocker possibly. There's been a very big score on the beam. We saw earlier Jocelyn Rathman did a great job, and then on the floor, Robidoux and Rathman have also been scoring.
And these freshmen have really filled in very nicely to this Florida squad. But Christy had a little bit of a problem on her first vault, so they really need the second vault for the team to score. Full twist onto the horse and a full twist off. Not the best vault I've seen Christy perform.
And Christy Lewis, who had scored as high as 9.7 this year, wasn't able to pull it off on either of those two vaults. Now Georgia, some pressure shifting to Jennifer Carbone with the fall by Chris Rodas. Carbone, Kelly Macy, and Hope Spivey are going to need to hit now to keep Georgia in the hunt for the team championship against Alabama. Right now, I'd say it's a two-team race. LSU creeping behind about a point, but Georgia still has a good shot at Alabama if they can hit these three beam routines.
And that's a super tough mount. A round off to a layout, of course, you can imagine trying to mount on that small 4-inch balance beam. Very tough to do. Taking a little bit of time, getting set for a big skill. Back handspring to a layout. Fighting to stay on. Full turn, again a requirement the judges are looking for. switch leg leap to a back handspring to a one-arm back handspring combination. Nice skill. Very high straddle jump. Jennifer's doing a good job. She really just has her dismount left. Round off, full twist dismount. Good job for Jennifer.
So Jennifer Carbone faced some problems, but managed to pull herself together, and we'll move to the vault now. Melissa Kutcher for the University of Florida.
That vault's called a Cuervo Dave. It's a handspring with a half turn and a back tuck. It's worth a 9.9 value.
Melissa Kutcher, of course, has come on very strong this season for Florida. The junior has improved all season long with her all-around as post-career best in just about every event this year, and being congratulated by her teammates. Florida, of course, having to pull together now. They need to finish off a pretty solid vault rotation and then get on the bars and make their move if they're going to work their way into the top 3 this evening. And we'll move back to the beam, where we will see Kelly Macy from the University of Georgia.
She has had very impressive performances this year so far. She's doing a wonderful job for this Georgia squad. Gainer back handspring, second back handspring to a layout walkout, and she was right on. Pike jumps in combination. Again, those 2 skills will give her some added bonus points. It's very solid days. Cartwheel to a layout, walkout. She is right on, having a great competition. Leg leap to a one-arm back handspring. That's her gymnastic acrobatic series. Again, another requirement the judges are looking for. This is a solid routine. Just her dismount left. Round off, double twist, super job.
Kelly Macy for the University of Georgia. And Suzanne Yaklin very happy with that performance by Macy. The score earlier for Jennifer Carbone was 9.65. And here on the vault is Pam Titus for the University of Florida.
Performs her layout to Bahar first. It's only worth a 9.7 value, but that was a dynamic vault.
And let's take a look at Pam Titus' second vault now.
Again, the number was changed. On her front vault, a little bit early on her opening, very high, but a bit of a problem on the landing.
And the final beam competitor for Georgia, Hope Spivey, who has scored a season high of 9.95 on this event.
A lot of pressure on Hope, the last competitor up on balance beam. Back handspring to a layout, solid.
The score for Kelly Macy, a 9.85. The biggest score of the evening on the beam.
Hopefully what Hope can do is use a lot of that international experience that she's had in the bigger events such as the Olympic Games, although there are often times when the SEC Championships can really compare to an event such as that. There's a lot of action going on, a lot of noise. She's deep in thought on the balancing right now.
And we did mention that 9.85 for Macy. Also keep in mind that Dee Dee Foster scored a 9.85 earlier for Alabama on the beam. So those are the scores that Hope Spivey will try to beat to try to win the beam title tonight.
Well, she's well on her way, Dave. She really has her dismount left. She's put in a solid performance. No major deductions at all. Round off, double back, shy on her dismount, and a touch with her hands. They may not take the full 5/10 deduction, but pretty much a 0.3 deduction.
Certainly won't be the 9.85.
This is a nice skill right here. It's a tuck open to a back handspring chest roll.
And there is Hope Spivey. Just a bit of a problem, but it'll all come down to one final rotation when we decide the championship as we return on Sports Channel. Who is in great position to win the all-around title if she can hit her beam routine. And here's Hope Spivey, the freshman from Georgia, who is also in position to win a SEC championship. And let's take a look at somebody on that championship profile.
Like Alabama's Dee Foster last year, Hope Spivey was the prize recruit of the 1991 gymnastics class. As a member of the U.S. national team from 86 through 88, including the team that went to Seoul, Korea for the 1988 Olympics, Spivey deserved that reputation. But with success comes high expectations, and much was expected of this 19-year-old freshman. Spivey has not disappointed the Bulldog faithful. All she has done is set new Georgia records on the floor in the all-around, while tying Andrea Thomas's balance beam record at Georgia. Spivey capped off her successful inaugural season by posting a 10 on the floor before the home fans in the Georgia Coliseum.
Well, a 10-0 is very hard to achieve in gymnastics, and it's not an everyday thing, but I don't really think I expected to have a 10-0. I knew that with the lineup in our hometown that it could have been a possibility, and I just wanted to stick my tongue and do the best for team that I could do, and I guess that was a 10-0.
Now, has the transition for you been difficult going to the collegiate level from an international level of gymnastics?
Not really. The only thing that I'd say that is a little different is that in international competition, you're more of an individual, and in college gymnastics, your focus is the whole team, and I think it's helped me a lot with my gymnastics and made me feel more comfortable.
Being a 1988 Olympian, obviously people expect more things from you. How have you been able to cope with that kind of pressure?
Actually, lots of people have asked me that question, and I have to respond that I try not to put the pressure on myself because 1988 was the past, and this is 91, and I have to do what's in the present, and that's just to be the best team member and the best gymnast I can be.
And up to this point, Hope Spivey has been a very good gymnast tonight. In fact, she is in that chase, as we mentioned, for the all-around title. Let's take a look first at the team scores, though, and Auburn and Kentucky have completed their rotations, and Auburn has posted that 189.25. That won't win the championship tonight, but it's a score that Florida and LSU are chasing in terms of third place standing. You can see Florida will have to score at least a 46. Florida right now in sixth place because we don't know where they will finish. Of course, Kentucky's at 186, but the key is the team score, and Alabama has a 1,500th of a point lead over Georgia, and this battle could go down to the last competitor. One thing we want to keep in mind, though, Alabama will have 6 competitors on the vault here, and they will open with Dana Dobransky. Georgia, because of the injury situation, will have only 5 competitors on floor exercise, so every one of their competitors will have to hit if Georgia wants to pull out the title.
And Dana's already hurting a little bit. This is about to be a tough event for her. The layup super hard, just pulled out that landing.
And opening on the floor for Georgia is freshman Kelly Macy, who right now is in the lead in the all-around. She has scored 29.40 for 3 events, and she is tied with LSU's Rochelle Fruget with that score, followed by teammate Hope Spivey at 29.10. So Macy pulling up what could be a big surprise.
Kelly opened up very strong, the double tuck dummy. Solid opening for the Georgia team. Double twist to a punch to Shadova. Again, a very popular move that we're seeing on floor exercise. It's a trend that Utah actually started, Dave. Well, that's one solid routine that they have.
Kelly Macy, who has put in her claim for the SEC all-around title tonight, as we go back to the vault where we have Shea McFall for the University of Alabama.
Shea's a very good vaulter, having a little bit of trouble here, actually over-rotating on a half-half front. Very difficult vault, and kind of a 10.0.
And just a few minutes earlier, Dana Dobransky took her second vault for the University of Alabama.
Again, Dana hurting a little bit. See that left ankle and that splint cast, but she did a wonderful job on her second vault. The layout Sikohar value out of a 9.7.
And Dana Dobransky, who scored a 9.55 with that vault. We have Shea McFall getting ready for her second vault, and keep in mind that the scoring now very, very close. So every competitor now will be very important in terms of which team wins this SEC championship.
Shea's going to have to work on her landing. This is a tough vault. It's a blind landing. She really fought for it and actually overcompensated and went the other way.
And that opens the door a little bit for Georgia, because in all, if you add up the scores and start looking at it, that counts as a fall for Alabama. They're down to 5 vaulters now, and over on the floor we will see Sandy Roulette for the University of Georgia.
Layout double pike opening. Double twist, very solid in her landings. You can see this team is just going after it all. There it is again, the Arabian 1 1/4. And Sandy's feeling good about this routine, a second strong routine for Georgia.
And now we have Catherine Kelleher. This is her second vault.
Very nice job, a handspring front in a tuck position. The value of this vault, 9.9.
Her first vault, Catherine Kelleher scored a 9.60. We will try to get Kelly Macy's score for you so we can keep track of how this team competition is going. Rodas for Georgia will be the third competitor. She has posted a season high of 9.85 in this event, and she was third in the floor exercise in last year's SEC meet. Suzanne Yacklin, of course, has to be very, very pleased with what's happening, and it's changed. Before, she was a little nervous. Now it's becoming that adrenaline flow that she sees she has a chance to win the title. The score for Kelly Macy on floor tonight was a 9.70. So that will be the score that Rochelle Fruget will have to match in order to at least tie for the SEC all-around title, and that will be on the beam. Chris Rodas now for Georgia.
And let me tell you, she has all the moves on this exercise. Her choreography is very unique. Front pike through to round back handspring, double tuck opening. Handspring double tuck for a second tumbling pass. Very well done. Dynamite jump combinations. This is a great routine. She is right on the beat. There's that Arabian 1 1/4. After it, Dave. That was a solid routine.
Chris Rodas and Georgia started to move into control here because here is Tina Rinker vaulting for Alabama.
This is a tough vault. Half-half with front. Again, not enough rotation to hold on to the landing.
And now let's take a look at the second vault. Rinker needed to hit this to keep Alabama in the lead.
She needs a little bit more height. Again, just shy on her landing. You can see very frustrated.
And the score for Tina Rinker, make that was a 9.25. There's Sarah Patterson. Now, earlier, Catherine Kelleher scored a 9.80. Shea McFall a 9.15. And we mentioned Georgia led off, or make that Alabama led off on vaulting with Dana Dobransky's 9.55. Now, over on floor, Georgia has scored 9.70s with their first two competitors, and Chris Rodas just hit with a 9.80. So Georgia now, with only two competitors remain, if they can both hit, that's Jennifer Carbone and Hope Spivey, Georgia is going to pull off the SEC Championship.
Double pike. Round out back handspring, double tack over rotation. That's very costly.
And right when Georgia was within a couple rotations, actually two competitors away from pulling out this title, they've now opened the door ever so slightly for Alabama again.
Finishing off Arabian 1 1/4. We've seen a variety of those skills performed in the final class of the routine. Be interesting to see what the judges are going to do from here.
Jennifer Carbone with some problems, and on the other end, we see Alabama's Dee Dee Foster, who just completed her first vault. Let's take a look at it, and it follows after a very, very big vault by Kim Masters.
Beautifully done, Dave. A front handspring in a pike position. Nailed the landing.
Now, Dee Dee Foster, before she goes with her second vault, Kim Masters scored a 9.80 with her vault. So right when Alabama was on the verge of letting this one get away, Dee Dee Foster and Kim Masters have put Alabama right back in position. And I have a feeling after we see Foster's vault, Hope Spivey's floor exercise is probably going to decide the entire competition.
Performs this vault so well. Of course, the premier vaulter in the country. Handspring, front, pike position. It's worth a 10.0, and she'll be scoring close to maximum points on this vault.
Keep in mind, again, Hope Spivey has scored a 10 this season. Also keep in mind, Georgia has only 5 competitors on the floor this evening, so all the scores will count. Hope Spivey, one of the best in the country, and she's going to have to hit this if Georgia is going to pull out this meet, because the score for Jennifer Carbone was only a 9.05, and that score will have to count. The score for Dee Dee Foster on the vault, a 9.95. So Alabama, after seemingly being on the verge of losing control, has put itself in position to defend its SEC championship.
Beautifully opening. Actually, that's probably one of the only ones we've seen in the competition, a full twisting double back. Run through to a double back. Very solid in her landing. She's going after it.
Of course, Hope Spivey doesn't know it at this point where exactly the team situation stands, but let me be the first to let you know, Elfie, Alabama has won this meet. Hope Spivey doesn't know that. Of course, he could still win this event tonight, but Alabama has won with that vault by Dee Foster.
Hope's doing a nice job here. She's very powerful. She has a lot of skills. Just a tiny little athlete. Boy, can she tumble, and watch his final tumbling pass. Round up back handspring, double touch. She had a double back in every single solitary tumbling pass. And hats off to this Georgia team, Dave. They really went after it all. Very difficult to do with only 5 competitors.
And we've seen 9.9s, 9.95s. Hope Spivey's routine has to be right up there. It's going to be a little bit short in terms of pulling the meet out for Georgia. We see now that apparently Georgia is going to put up a 6th competitor, and we will try to get back to her after we have Rochelle Fruget on the beam. Rochelle Fruget will need a 9.70 on the beam to tie Kelly Macy for the all-around title. Of course, anything better than 9.70 will win it for Rochelle.
Dave, look at this combination of strength and flexibility. Rochelle is such a beautiful athlete to watch on the balance beam. It was a lovely planche mount.
And she does have a season high in this event of 9.9, so she's very, very capable.
Punch front, very solid and very sure of herself. Combination aerial to the side. Punch front, one and a half dismount. Beautiful routine for Rochelle Fruget. She's had an outstanding competition.
Rochelle Fruget, who it appears will have won the all-around title. And here we have Lisa Alicea. This is amazing, Elfie. She broke her toe in practice a week ago. And Suzanne Yakulin is getting pumped. Georgia trying to pull out all stops to win this title with Hope Spivey getting a 9.9. Again, this is unofficial. I'm pretty sure if Alicea could score a 9.2 or better, Georgia will pull out the title.
Well, she's on the road to doing that. She's put in 2 fine tumbling passes, both the double back. She's getting set for her final tumbling pass, and she's going after it all. This is just amazing to see. Round of back handspring, just a layout to end. Very easy tumbling pass to end with, but she opened up with 2 very difficult tumbling passes.
And she made it. Lisa Alicea in one of the more dramatic performances we've ever seen in Southeastern Conference gymnastics history. She was not scheduled to compete. Georgia very excited. The teammates excited. Now, Lisa Alicea was not going to be used unless Georgia needed a score. And there she is limping off the mat. Now, of course, when Georgia had the problems out of Jennifer Carbone and only scored a 9.05, Suzanne Yakulin had to make a decision. There's Sarah Patterson, not feeling too good right now. But I think Lisa needs only a 9.2, and that will